and admitting now.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
This Court of Common Pleas Civil Division is now declared open. The Honorable Ann M. Butchart presiding. This is a public hearing live stream via YouTube and can be accessed on the court's website. Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon. I'm Judge Ann Butchart. I'll be presiding over this virtual hearing today on an Act 135 petition filed by the Philadelphia Community Development Coalition, Inc. as petitioner against Gregory Hanna, the respondent. This is our docket 2208-02739, and the subject property is 1728 South Cleveland Street, Philadelphia 19145. If I could have the two individuals who are present identify themselves by name and relationship to the case.
Yes, Your Honor. Michael McElhenney, McIlhenney, counsel for the petitioner, the Philadelphia Community Development Coalition.
Thank you. Ms. Ladd, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. I represent the mortgagee, Susquehanna Capital Management, LLC. We have not filed our appearance in the case officially yet, but I would ask that I can just observe the proceedings today on behalf of my client.
And
We have
you
no
are
objection.
the mortgagee?
Correct.
Thank you. No objection, so we'll proceed. Mr. McElhenney, tell me a little bit about this case, and if you can, I'd appreciate seeing pictures of the property, if you could share them.
Let's do that. I'll share the screen, Your Honor, to start.
But just give me your introductory statement too about it. That's fine.
Ooh. Yeah, so the property at issue is 1728 South Cleveland Street, which is located in the Point Breeze section of Philadelphia. It's a two-story structure that was purchased in 2000 by the current owner, Gregory Hanna. The property itself has been cited as being vacant for since the 2021, and the main issue that brought the conservator to bring the action was that the City of Department of Licenses and Inspections, who will testify at a subsequent hearing, to the fractured front wall, leaning, bulging, buckling front wall that needs to be addressed. I don't have a ton of photos here because we can't get to the rear of the property, and it's hard to get a picture of the wall that's leaning because you have to be right up against the side of it to be able to see it. But the concern is that the wall needs to be rebuilt in a nutshell. Your Honor did issue the order to show cause in this case, and there are many interested parties, some of which you might not have seen before in other cases. They all have been served at this point: the City of Philadelphia, Department of Licenses and Inspections, Philadelphia Gas Works, Susquehanna Capital Management, LLC. The IRS here, there is a $100,000+ IRS lien against Gregory Hanna, and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Department of Revenue, based off business taxes, I guess, that are owed for Mr. Hanna. We have effectuated service on all individuals, with the exception of Gregory Hanna himself. He appears to have been a landlord that owned many properties, and Ms. Ladd's client assumed a mortgage from a prior bank. It was an open-ended mortgage, it says, for $580,000. And the records indicate that various of the rental properties appear to have been sold off through the sheriff's sale over the years. And I believe that is paying down the debt that is outstanding on that mortgage, but that there is an amount due and payable to Susquehanna Capital at this time, above and beyond the IRS liens. Upon filing this case, we did attempt service on Mr. Hanna. His registered address on the deed is an address on the deed to the subject property is 6315 Elmhurst, ELMHURST, Philadelphia, PA 19111. That is an address that Mr. Hanna used to own, but sold back in 2004. And the city's records for tax mailing purposes still indicates that old address. So we know that that's not a valid address anymore since he's sold it and isn't the owner anymore. We did note that he is residing at 100 Shenandoah Road, Shenandoah, in Cinnaminson, New Jersey, zip code 08077. We've tried multiple means to effect service on Mr. Hanna through certified mail restricted delivery. We sent a process server over, and we've also sent Federal Express packages to see if he would sign for it. And all attempts have failed and have come back as non-deliverable or no one available to accept service. The process server did indicate in his affidavit of non-service that he attempted to speak to the neighbors, and the description in the affidavit of non-service is that the neighbor describes Mr. Hanna, and I believe it's his wife, I think it was Kristen, I think is the name, that they are quote unquote hermits and never come out. So with that being said, we also researched and saw, using Google Westlaw white pages, that appears to be his current address where he's residing, and that property, his home, is actually in a foreclosure action, and the bank in that case had to seek alternative means of service in that case. The other research we did just internet searches and social media searches, and it appears that Gregory Hanna used to run a carpet business, and he still might. So we reached out through the phone to the known numbers associated with him and his business, and also the email address that's on his LinkedIn profile. But all of those attempts were unsuccessful. But we did note that the foreclosure action in New Jersey at his home was stayed by the owner recently. So it seems that he is just being non-responsive and non-cooperative in multiple actions. So we did file a motion for alternative service to request that we be able to serve Mr. Hanna by alternative means, and such as mailing to his house in Cinnaminson, New Jersey, regular mail. So any certified mail he's not going to sign for or receive. So I suggested regular mail. I'd also suggest that we post the subject property of this case with the alternative service motion, and maybe even post his house in Cinnaminson with the full package, so that the process server can take a photograph of it, post it on the wall, and we know that it got there, and he should receive as much notice as possible. And I think that is the most effective way to ensure the owner, Gregory Hanna, has full notice of this case. Whether he wants to participate or not is always another story. But to make sure he gets notice, I think that would accomplish what Rule 410 requires for alternative special service in these cases.
Thank you. And you said you filed a motion for alternative service?
Yes, Your Honor.
Right. That hasn't hit my desk yet, but I'm certain that we'll find it as soon as we look for it. And go ahead.
That was filed on September 21st, 2022.
Okay. I'll take a look at it, and we should rule on that within the next day or so. Mr. McElhenney, I don't get to say this very often, but I can't tell you how much I appreciate the efforts that you and your firm take on service in these cases. And if there's ever an opportunity for a CLE or a program on Act 135, and you could talk about the efforts that you take routinely, it would be extremely helpful to.
Gladly. Yeah, because I think a lot of people file cases and then figure out service later. I think the different strategy that I have, at least, is I want all that research done, or a lot of it, before we file. You want to know where they reside, and especially in these cases, because they proceed quickly.
Well, and I think you also could talk about certain red flags that you see in the course of preparing your petition that cause you to think. We had another case not too long ago where the last deed was executed 60 years ago. And they're looking for the owner on the deed. And I suggested that may not be enough. I said the likelihood, and especially because it was husband and wife in 1962, I said, you may want to look at the Department of Vital Records, and think, but it slows us down. And of course, the client is very anxious to keep going and get to the evidentiary hearing. And I said, not yet. I'm just not comfortable.
Yeah,
So,
that's,
anyway, I'm just giving you I'm
I
just
appreciate that.
saying how much I appreciate it, how much the court appreciates it. But we're going to let you continue in this vein. You've represented that among the other methods that you've proposed in your motion is to have the actual package delivered to his property in Cinnaminson and have photographs taken of it, having it posted.
And to be clear, Your Honor, my proposed order did not have that as a third option, but as I was prepping for today and reviewing, it would probably be smart for me to post the subject property and his home. So I would have to add that. I can submit a proposed amended order for consideration that would have that third posting requirement.
I think that would be great if you do so, and then we should be able to sign that and have it docketed without any trouble. In the meantime, let's give this a relatively short date. I think we've tried to sell you on those late December dates and you're not buying it. So
could I pitch January 4th in the afternoon?
Let's see.
1:30 maybe? We have a 9:30 scheduled already as of this morning.
Well, I'll tell you what happened between then and then. 1-3 or 1-4? 1-4?
I think it was 1-4. Yes, it was 1-4 this morning.
Was that PCG? No.
PCDC versus Rebecca Woods.
Okay. How could I forget?
That was a long one. I should have warned Your Honor. My in-person meeting went an hour and 40 minutes, and just
I can, and you were very nice about reining her in. I think Killian, does 1-4 at 1:30 work? I think that's what you were proposing, Mr. McElhenney.
yes, Your Honor, because I think the morning wood session is 9:30 to 11:30.
Right.
Your Honor, we just scheduled the last hearing at the 1:30 block, so that we're booked from 1:30 till 4 o'clock. But we do have availability at on Tuesday, the 3rd. We could do it 2:30 that day.
Tuesday, the 3rd at 2:30. Does that work for you?
I think that will work. My client has had to pick up at school a sickness, but I think that will work.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, let's take that.
Okay.
Actually, Your Honor, I just texted my client, and he's supposed to be in Washington, D.C. that day.
All right. So we won't do, all right, let's see what else we can do.
Your Honor, we could do a 9:30 on Thursday, January 5th. If we want to do it in the morning.
1-5 at 9:30.
Let's see. 1-5. Yes, that's my day is clear that day. Let's do that. That'll give flexibility. Hopefully people are back from their Christmas vacation week and one of the members can appear.
I certainly hope so, because we have an awful lot going on.
Yeah, it's tight. And I was going to add, just to bring back to the lien holder that's here today, I did have the opportunity to speak with Ms. Ladd before today's conference and provide the Act 135 brochure, because a lot of the lien holders haven't seen this act before either. So she wanted to be brought up to speed. And also know the court likes to circulate that flyer. So that has been provided to counsel.
Ms. Ladd, did you have anything you wanted to put on the record today, or any questions that you had?
Not today, Your Honor. Like I said, I believe we may be filing I don't know if it's a petition to intervene or enter for appearance, just so we're notified of, that I receive electronic notifications of further hearings that are set in this matter. But I believe that we'll just be basically monitoring this as I understand it. I am speaking further with my client about it next week. But that's my understanding as to what position they're going to take.
So do I understand that what Mr. Hanna did was he used this property, he leveraged this property for additional investments and purchases?
I am not certain about that. My client purchased this loan in 2018 from Stonebridge Bank. And I don't think that anything was really done by way of, collection of this matter because of the pandemic and the moratoriums that were in place. So I think a lot of it was kind of on hold for a while. So I'm not certain about that, the history of, the loan or
Okay.
I know originally there were 25 properties, I believe, that secured it.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, starting in December, our Supreme Court has ordered courts to go back to in-person hearings. So unfortunately, if you want to participate, you'll have to come to, or even to observe, you'll have to come to City Hall, courtroom 453. I'm working to see if we can utilize some of the technological progress that has been made to make the courtroom more accessible, but so far that's just in the early stages. So we may see you in person.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else?
Petitioner has nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay.
Your Honor, that concludes today's proceeding. The court stands adjourned.
Thank you.
Yeah.